What's good, 12th man? Are you ready for some heart-stopping, game-changing news that's about to shake the very foundation of CenturyLink Field? Because what I'm about to tell you will have you jumping out of your seats and screaming Seahawks until your neighbors think you've lost your mind. Listen up, because three massive developments just dropped that could completely transform how our beloved Seahawks attack the 2025 season. We're talking about moves so strategic, so perfectly calculated, that John Schneider might just be playing 4D chess while everyone else is still figuring out checkers. You know that feeling when you're watching a Seahawks game and something just clicks when the entire stadium erupts because you know something special is about to happen? That's exactly what's brewing right now in the Pacific Northwest. And it all centers around three key players who are about to change everything we thought we knew about this team's potential. Dotty. The first story involves a rookie who was drafted with one specific mission in mind to solve a problem that haunted us all of last season. Remember that embarrassing stretch where we couldn't run the ball to save our lives? Where we watched helplessly as elite defenders like a certain 49ers linebacker completely dominated our ground game. While our front office has been quietly preparing the perfect counterattack, the second revelation is about a versatile warrior whose value to this team just became crystal clear through one simple statement from Coach McDonald. This player's ability to adapt and excel wherever he's needed has caught everyone's attention, and his impact could be felt from day one. And the third bombshell. It's about a signing so under the radar that most fans don't even know it happened. But this player could be the secret weapon that transforms our special teams from liability to lethal weapon. But here's the thing, 12th man, I'm not going to reveal any names just yet. All I'm going to tell you is that we got a blocking specialist who's about to go head-to-head with one of the NFL's most feared defenders, a multi-positional chess piece who just secured his spot in McDonald's master plan, and a return specialist with college touchdown explosiveness who could change field position in the blink of an eye or smash that like button if you're as hyped as I am. Drop a comment telling me which position group you think needs the biggest upgrade. And don't forget to subscribe because you do not want to miss what's coming next. The clock is ticking toward week 1, and these three moves could be the difference between another frustrating season and something truly special in Seattle. Are you ready to find out how Schneider and McDonald are preparing to shock the NFL? Let's dive into the first game-changing move that addresses our biggest weakness from 2024. Here we go. 12th man, time to reveal the first piece of this championship puzzle, and his name is Robbie. Remember that nightmare game against San Francisco last October when we were coming off that embarrassing home loss to the Giants, and everything seemed to be falling apart when Fred Warner absolutely destroyed us with 11 tackles, while our running game managed a pathetic 2.6 yards per carry on just 20 attempts. That game revealed a fatal flaw in our offensive identity. We simply could not establish the run against elite defenses. We managed just 2 first downs until garbage time, trailing 16-0 and watching our season slip away. It was painful, it was frustrating, and it showed exactly why John Schneider knew he had to make a move. Enter Robbie, the Georgia tight end, who most draft experts thought would go undrafted, but whom Schneider specifically targeted in our 5th round. Here's the beautiful part. Seattle wasn't looking for another tight end. We already had Elijah Roy from the 2nd round and A.J. Barner developing nicely. So why spend a 5th round pick on a player who isn't fast enough or explosive enough to threaten as a traditional receiving threat? Because Robbie wasn't drafted to be a tight end. He was drafted to be our secret weapon at fullback. At 6 feet 3 inches, 274 pounds, this man plays like an extra guard who can catch passes. In an era where most teams have completely abandoned the fullback position, Schneider is going old school with a twist that could revolutionize our running game. Think about it, 12th man. When was the last time you saw a defense prepared to handle a legitimate fullback in today's NFL? House did this brilliantly at Georgia, and now he's here to create running lanes that Kenneth Walker III and Zach Char haven't seen since their college days. We got a tantalizing preview in that pre-Eason drive against Kansas City. 6 runs, 4 passes straight down the field for a touchdown. And guess who caught the longest pass on that drive? That's right, Robbie. But that's not why he's here. He's here to do the dirty work, to create holes, and most importantly, to neutralize linebackers like Fred Warner, who have been feasting on our inability to establish physical dominance at the line of scrimmage. The beauty of this strategy is that it addresses multiple problems at once. Gray Zabel and a revived Anthony Bradford are making the middle of our line stronger, while gives us the versatility to attack defenses that have been loading up to stop our passing game. But here's where it gets really interesting, and this connects to something else that's been happening behind the scenes in Seattle. The plot thickens 12th man because our coaching staff has been playing the long game with another key piece of this puzzle, Jalen Sundell. You want to talk about versatility, you want to talk about having the right players in the right positions when everything is on the line. Coach McDonald just made it crystal clear that Jalen Sundell is not just a backup plan. He's a fundamental part of how this offense is going to adapt and overcome whatever defenses throw at us. Here's a player who went undrafted but has been quietly impressing everyone in the organization. The same North Dakota State program that gave us Gray Ale also produced this gem who can play both center and guard at an elite level. When most fans were focused on the big-name signings and draft picks, John Schneider was securing a player whose impact could be felt immediately. Remember Week 15 against Green Bay last season, when Sundell was forced into action at center, didn't allow a single quarterback pressure. Not one. In the preseason, same story. 0 pressures allowed. This is the kind of consistency that championship offensive lines are built on. But here's what makes plans so brilliant. With Christian Haynes starting the season on injured reserve, Sundell becomes the Swiss Army knife of our offensive line. If something happens to Gray Zabel or Anthony Bradford, McDonald's strategy is to slide Sundell over to guard and elevate Olu Watani to center. It's like having an insurance policy that actually makes your starting lineup better. The most exciting part, Jalen Sundell is still evolving as a player. At the beginning of training camp, he was competing for the starting center position and might have won it even with a healthy Oluwatimi. This is a player whose sailing we haven't even begun to see, and he's going to be protecting our quarterbacks and creating running lanes from day one. Don't think about the chess match this creates for opposing defenses. They're preparing for our revamped running attack with Robbie leading the charge. But they also have to account for an offensive line that can adapt on the fly with players like Sundell, who excel wherever they're needed. But wait, there's one more piece to this puzzle that could tie everything together in the most explosive way possible. 12th man. What I'm about to tell you might just be the most underrated move of the entire offseason, and his name is Courtney Jackson. Remember the frustration we all felt last season watching Dee Williams and Lisa Chan struggle with basic ball security on returns. Remember watching safe, boring returns that gave our offense terrible field position while other teams were housing punts and kicks against us. Those days might be over, and it's all because of a player that most of you have probably never heard. Off. Courtney Jackson is the kind of signing that championship teams make when nobody's looking. The Denver Broncos released him because they had a crowded receiver room, but they had no idea what kind of weapon they were letting walk out the door. This man averaged 14.8 yards per punt return in the pre-Eason. That's not just good, that's elite territory. But here's where it gets insane. In college, Jackson returned 4 punts for touchdowns, including 3 in his final 2 seasons at Arkansas State. On just 15 returns last season, he averaged 18.5 yards per return. We're talking about game-breaking momentum, shifting explosiveness that can completely flip the script on any game. At 24 years old, Jackson has the maturity to make smart decisions about when to return and when to fair catch. But he also has that burst of speed that can turn a routine punt into a house call. Jake Bobo showed promise in the preseason with 34 yards on 3 returns. But he also got concussed and fumbled. Not exactly the reliability we need. Courtney Jackson represents something we haven't had in years. Legitimate fair factor on special teams. Opposing coaches are going to have to